Oi, pessoal de Splash, eu tô aqui com o Chuck do Simple Plan, que vai se apresentar aqui no Brasil no ano que vem. Então, eu vou começar essa entrevista com ele, que a gente tá muito animado. Hi, Chuck, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Even better, knowing that you will be coming to Brazil next year, right? Are you excited for it?
Oh, yeah. Of course we are. I mean, like it's this tour is going to be massive. This festival is incredible, and the lineup is insane. So many of our friends, amazing bands that we love, and Brazil is a special place for us. We've been playing there since I think the first time was 2003 or four. And we've had some of the most magical shows there, so it's always a real pleasure to go back. And it's been too long. I think it's almost been like 5 years or 6 years since we haven't played there. So yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah, I think next year, by the time you'll get here, it'll be 6 years since you last came.
Too long.
What changed in that time? Like, is the band different? Is the experience of playing live, is it different?
I mean, obviously, I think the reason why we took so long is because of the pandemic and everything that happened. It's been for us, and I feel like it's a bit of a cliche now to talk about it, but it really showed us how much playing live and being in this band was so important, and how much we missed it during the about 2 years where we couldn't do it. So I think it just makes us appreciate every concert even more than before. And I think the fans, you can feel there's a real excitement and to be able to return to live shows. We've been playing for about 2 years now since we started to tour again, and the shows have been bigger, better. The atmosphere is incredible. People are so into it. It's like they're singing a bit louder and they jump a bit higher, and they're just really super passionate and enthusiastic. So I feel the same thing's going to happen when we go to Brazil. And to be honest, it was already like at a big 11 already when we went to Brazil. So now I feel like it's going to be like pandemonium. And I think what's interesting, what happened as well during the pandemic was there's been this like resurgence of the pop punk emo scene and the sound. I feel like a bunch of new artists came out and showed the world like a modern approach to this style of music and kind of reinvented it. And what happened was a lot of the bands that had been maybe like some influences of these new artists, a lot of people went back and rediscovered them again. And I think people also are getting older and they turn back to music of their teenage years. So I feel like as far as we're concerned, like the band has never been bigger, and the shows have never been bigger. So it's been really, really a fun ride for us.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about it, coming from the new bands that see you guys as an inspiration, because to me, especially here in Brazil and also worldwide, I feel like this resurgence of pop punk was a little about nostalgia, really. Maybe because of the pandemic. I don't know what like psychologically it did to us, that it made us like look back to things that made us happy before. Do you think that plays a part in how new bands are coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of all these things, to be honest. I think that when you hit a certain age, you start to turn back to some of the music that was like important for you in your teenage years or in your kind of formative years, maybe like early 20s or teen years. And I think that music brings a lot of comfort. It brings a lot of special memories, maybe of a time that was a bit simpler, that was and where music was really the center of people's lives. And I think when you're younger, music is really a way to define who you are. It's like your whole identity is wrapped up in what bands you love and what songs you love. So I think that when you get a bit older, you go to college or you start a job, maybe that kind of recedes in the background a little bit of your life. And then at some point you kind of realize like, oh, I missed this. I missed that feeling. I kind of want to reconnect with these songs and these bands that were important to us. And I think that's what you're seeing. That's what's happening for a lot of people that are hitting like their early 30s or whatever, late 20s, early 30s. And they're starting to go like, man, like I miss this moment in my life. I want to hear these songs again. I want to go like I have a bit more time maybe now and I want to go see these shows. I want to relive these moments. So I think that's what's it's been happening. I mean, same thing for me, like the bands that I grew up with that were like early influences. It's still what I sort of turn to when I'm in the car and I want to hear something. Like I'll often just go back to my favorite records, So I think that's a natural instinct that everybody sort of has. And I think, I mean, I think you might be right about the fact that during the pandemic, like something happened where people wanted to turn to things that maybe made them happier before, or maybe they miss the shows, the live experience, like being together is something that kind of unites everyone. And maybe there's that's happening. I'm not exactly sure. I think that I'm just a kid challenge for us was huge. And what's interesting is that sure it's the song, but it really shows it's a really cool way, and it's kind of very it's kind of emotional the way, but like when you see all these videos being made, it really shows how time just passes and how we're all changing and we're all getting older, and like there's people that are not there anymore, and there's people that are there and they're still there with you. And I think that there's something a lot deeper that went on with this challenge and just what you see from the outside when you take a step back and you think about it. It's like it's really about life. It's kind of sums up your experience as a person, and I think that's why it was so popular. So it really brought the song to a whole different level. I think it reintroduced a lot of people to the band that maybe they forgot about it, and then they're like, "Oh my God, I used to love Simple Plan. I'm gonna go check them out." So here we are. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, and what's it been like meeting again fans that like they were fans of yours like 15 years ago, and now you meet them again as adults? It must feel crazy, right?
Yeah, it's wild. What's the craziest thing for us has been meeting fans that now have kids and their kids are fans of the band, and they're like, "Yeah, my parents love you guys. Like like you were their favorite band." So I'm like, "Wow, huh." It's a bit scary to see how much time has passed, but it's cool at the same time. There's fans that we've known since 2002, 2003, like the early days, and they've been coming to every show, and they're like, they're always there, like always supporting the band. And you see them, and you see their lives evolving, and now they're getting married, they have kids, or so it's really kind of cool that we created this whole community of people, and we see each other evolve and take different steps in our lives. And I think it's really cool for us to be a part of that. And what's special is that for them and what they share with us is that our music has been there every step of the way, and it's still important to them. And that, I think, is the greatest compliment for a band and for songwriters, that to know that the songs have helped them in their past, and it's still helping them now, and they still turn to that music when they're going through a tough time, or when they just want to celebrate something. It's what they, the music is still part of their lives, so that's really cool.
Cool. And circling back to the Brazilian tour a bit now,
Sure.
do you guys have any fond memories in Brazil? Is there anything that stands out in all these years you've been coming here?
So many. I mean, like it's some of the biggest shows, some of the craziest like crowd reaction, like just being on stage and watching that. It's always surreal. Like the first time we came, I don't think we've had any idea or realized. There was a lot less social media back then, so it was a bit more like a mystery. When you went somewhere, you didn't know what to expect. You knew that okay, the record had sold that many copies, but you didn't realize that the scale or the scope of how well known the band was until you actually stepped in the country, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, there's people at the airport, there's people waiting in the hotels, there's people trying to break into like the hotel floors, and I mean, it was just crazy. So I think that was really exciting for us as a band to see that kind of success so far from home, and in a country that we've always sort of dreamed about. Like one day we're gonna play Rock in Rio. We saw these like Guns N' Roses and these crazy shows on the beach, and the Rolling Stones on Copacabana Beach, and it was like, oh man, Brazil looks like an amazing place for rock bands and all that. So when you finally get there and you get to experience it for real, it was incredible. But on a more personal level, just being able to travel in the country and like having all these really cool experiences of, like for me, I think especially Rio was just like a special place that we got to visit. We got to go like hang gliding, off the hill and like, sort of float above the whole city. And then I think I took a chopper tour and we went all around like the Christ statue and the beaches and everything, and just an amazing city and so cool to get to like live these experiences, right? And I think also the food's amazing. Like we've had so many incredible meals in Brazil, and so I think just the culture. Like we went to see like the favelas as well, which was very like I think an important experience to see sort of like what life is like for some people there. And it was just like I think we really tried to embrace traveling and trying to get as much as a sense as we can of the country that we're in. We don't like just stay in our hotel room or stay backstage. We really want to get out there and experience it. So I think Brazil has been an absolutely beautiful destination for us and a really special place. And just the interaction with the fans too, like the stories we heard from them and meeting them and just seeing the support. And yeah, it's really like, I know that every band comes on and says that, but it's really been like I think we really have a special connection with that country.
Everyone can say it and we'll love it every time. Don't worry.
Well, it's been amazing. And we definitely hear everyone on social media, that's there. That definitely, and every show we go to, no matter where we play in the world, there's always a Brazilian flag in the front row or in the back, like waving. There's always somebody said, like we're from Brazil, we're here. So it's really cool to see the diaspora, from Brazil traveling around the world and always being there. And so that's special as well.
Yeah, but it's so cool that you guys get to, and also you want to do this, the whole experience. And has it always been like that for every place you go? Do you try to see the culture? Is it something you've always done on tours, or was it from like within like the years you've been touring that became more important?
No, I think it's something that was always important. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I think the rest of the band too. Like it just felt like if we're gonna be given this incredible privilege of being able to travel and go to all these different cities and countries and basically see the world, it would be kind of foolish to miss it all and just, wake up at 3 p.m. and do nothing until the show. It just felt like it was well worth the effort, and that it'd be kind of stupid really to just miss out on all that stuff. And look, obviously, sometimes there's obligations and you're doing press or you're only in a city for a day or two. So I don't think we've been able to truly do it the way that we would have dreamed of, like to spend time like and get outside the big cities and go into like the smaller spots and everything. Like that's not always possible, but within the limits of our schedule and everything, I think we've always tried to really maximize the time that we get to spend and really get to enjoy and get a sense of what it's like to be there and like meet people as well and go out and eat the local food and just really, I don't know, just embrace it and not miss out. And I think now for me, what's even more interesting is now that I have a family and I have a little boy, it's to bring him on tour with me and now rediscovering all these places. So like I brought him to Japan, and I've been to Japan like 15 times, but for him it was the first time. So everything was new, everything was fresh, and it felt exciting again for me as well because I got to share all that. So hopefully I'll be able to bring him maybe to Brazil, or we're going to Australia next year, so I'll bring him there. So it's like I see the band now as like this chance to share all this with my young son and my wife, and it's really cool to be given those special opportunities.
That's really cool. And also it means so much to fans, the fact that you guys also try to give fans a special experience each time you come. This time I was baffled seeing the VIP experiences. I even took notes here. It's a pre-show party or a side stage experience or post-show pizza party. That's so cool. And even now with the side shows that you'll be playing next year. It's insane. Like, where
Yeah,
does those ideas come from?
well, I mean, it's interesting because at first, we felt a little funny about this, the VIP experiences because we've always met people, like randomly at the hotel. Like if they were waiting at the airport, we would always really, I think if you talk to any fans of the band, I think we went above and beyond and always to extraordinary ways to like make sure that we sign for everyone and take every selfie and really make an effort. We don't run away. We really love, I think we're still in lots of ways we were able to like remember what it's like to be a fan. And when we were young, we would meet, some of our favorite bands, and if they were not nice or if they sort of ignored you, it was kind of like, "Ah, man, what a bummer." It was such a big disappointment. So I think we've always remembered that, and we never want to do that to our fans today. So we always, make a big effort. But sometimes it's hard. Like when you got like 10,000 people at a show or 5,000 people, it's a little difficult to meet everybody. So a lot of people the last few years have really been asking like, hey, we want to make sure like 100% that we get to, meet you guys and tell us our stories and give you whatever gifts or like letters we want to give you, and we want to take our photos and everything. And so they've really been requesting these VIP experiences. And so we kind of said, you know what, like, I think if the fans really want them, and if we're gonna do them, let's do them in a way that feels welcoming and cool and special and doesn't feel just like rushed. Like, okay, next. Like we really want to talk to people and take the time. So we're offering a bunch of different options. The side stage is sick. I mean, that's really special. Like it's only 8 people or 10 people per show, and you get to like high five right before the show, and like Pierre will go and sing to them during the show, and I look back, and at the end we like when in between songs, like we'll actually talk to them. It's like, hi, like, do you like the show? Are you having fun? You're all good, So it's a really unique experience, and I think it's really cool. And then it's always fun to like meet at sound check or meet after the show. So we just thought, you know what, why not do it all? So there's more people that can actually, because they were selling out quite quickly. So we thought, let's offer more options, especially in Brazil, because we haven't been in 6 years. So yeah, it's been fun. We actually really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, and now with the side shows with NX0, are you excited for that? It's like it's just part of the lineup of the tour with a Brazilian band. That's so cool that you get to do that, and that fans get to experience that as well, right? Because there's a big overlap of fans of both bands.
I mean, we figured if we're gonna go to Brazil and it's been 6 years, we gotta put on like a big headliner concert, and with our. I mean, I'm sorry, like I pronounce it NX0, but I noticed that you pronounce it differently, so I don't want to be disrespectful, but I know that they're massive in Brazil. People love them. I talked to some of our fans over there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like they're amazing. They're like legends there." So I think we're really honored that we get to play with them and get to do our own show with them. I think it's going to be really special. It's awesome to play the festival. It's incredible, but there is something about being like having I'm not going to say more intimate because it is still a pretty big show, but it's not going to be like the massive festival. So it's a little bit more like for the fan. I think it's even more special. We get to play more songs. We get to play like a longer set, and yeah, it's really cool. If we're gonna make the trip to Brazil, like I feel like we really had to do that, and it's gonna be like the perfect kickoff party before this whole festival starts. It's gonna be really fun. So I hope the fans are excited and that they come out and that they get to see us twice in Sao Paulo. So that's really cool.
It is really cool. And also, as for the lineup of the festival itself, you guys have been touring with some of these bands over the years, right?
Yes.
But to get to see that, it's like our little version of Warped Tour in Brazil, which we've never had. It's so much fun that fans get to experience that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I think we've always wanted to bring this kind of like huge lineup or to our touring overseas and in South America and everything in Brazil. It's just hard to coordinate and to bands like to make the packages work, and So I think that the fact that, you know, like the Brazilian promoter was able to put this together and was able to curate it in a way that is so perfect. I mean, this is like when we were young, Warped Tour, like this is the Brazilian version of that, but I don't think I think it's just as good. Like if this show was in LA or New York or London, it would like sell out the same way, you know? It's like they really found, you know, an a really strong lineup of bands that really complement each other, that really fit together. When we saw it, like when we first posted it, it almost looked like, is this real? Like, is that really gonna happen? Like for real? And we couldn't believe it. When we even got when we got the phone call, it was like, oh wow, like I really hope that all these bands are gonna say yes and do it. And then everybody said yes, and so I think it's amazing. I think that I hope that it repeats. It becomes something that, you know, bands can do every year and fans can go to this amazing festival, and you know that they built this brand and it can go on for like, you know, 5-10 years, you know, maybe more. It'll be amazing.
Right. Yeah, I hope so too. I had the same impression when I first saw the lineup. It truly was like a dream come true. I was gonna say that it feels like I don't know, like a 2012 lineup in the best way possible. But even then, we wouldn't have gotten that. So I'm really glad we've gotten to a point that we get to have the structure to bring all of it to Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's cool also is that there's a lot of cool local bands that are on it as well. So it's not just, you know, us bands coming over. You know, there's like a recognition of the fact that there are a lot of awesome bands from Brazil that are really popular and that are really important in the scene and that have helped build the popularity of this sound, of this kind of music as well locally. So I think that's really cool, and I think we're proud of that, and that's why we're excited to have and Next Zero play with us. Sorry, I'm saying it like an American or like a Canadian, but you know what I mean. Like I think that was important to us too, to make sure that it would reflect the fact that Brazil has a lot of really talented and awesome bands and artists, and that's special to us too.
Awesome, Chuck. Thank you very much for taking some time to answer our questions. We're very excited to see you guys here in Brazil. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to fans before the show?
I just want to say a huge obrigado to everyone for, you know, supporting the band for all these years, for giving us a chance to come back and play more shows for all of you guys. We really appreciate it, and you know, it's really special, like to see all the comments and people asking us to come back. We're sorry that it took a bit longer than expected, but I think it was well worth the wait. So we can't wait to see you all and have an amazing time on this festival and at this brand new show in Sao Paulo. So see you there.
See you, Chuck. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. All good?
Whoa.